And welcome to the EdTech Chat and Chew podcast, the podcast where four passionate teachers from different parts of the country get together on their lunch breaks to share resources, tips, and ideas to help you empower your students. Each week, we'll do our best to inform and inspire you with the amazing things that are happening in our schools. We're very happy that you've joined us today. And now, here's your host, Diane Smokorowski.
EdTech Chat and Chew, episode number 7. And yes, today we are back for another round of Teacher Roundtable of what's happening in our schools and some ideas that you can take back to your classroom with technology. And today we're talking about presentation tools. You know, with the Common Core and even with standards in other states that are not using the Common Core, presentations are still a main topic all the way, any way you look at it. So what can we use to help our students break away from standing in front of the room with a poster board and see if we can't kick it up a notch and at least maybe even have the students present to authentic audiences? So with me today, oh, by the way, I'm Diane. Always with me is my friends from Pennsylvania. There's Mike.
Hello there.
And Mike, you're at a special destination today. Where are you?
I am in Hershey, Pennsylvania for Pennsylvania's Educational Technology Conference, and I am learning a ton and having a great time.
Fantastic. And then my friends from Texas. We have Karen.
Hello.
And Andrea.
Hey, guys.
Okay. So this week, presentation tools. And the four of us do a lot of presentations, whether it's virtually or face-to-face, and especially at conferences like where Mike is today. So, Mike, I'm going to toss it to you since you're in a conference world. And tell me, what are some of the presentation tools that you prefer?
Yeah, well, it's funny. We knew that this topic was coming up, so I was just at the student showcase about a half hour ago, and I ran into a group of middle school students from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and they were showing iPad apps, and I said to them, all right, I'm recording a podcast in a couple minutes. You know, what are your favorite presentation tools? What do you use in your class when it's time to present? And they gave me possibly the best answer to this question that I've ever heard. They told me that it depends on what they're presenting, which I thought was a fantastic answer and is totally true. But when I pressed them a little bit more and asked them, to share some apps that maybe I had never heard of before, some of their favorites, one that they gave me was something called TouchCast, which is, I've never used it before, but from the little bit they showed me, it looked like a really great way to present where you could take video and almost like explain everything on the iPad, where you could edit the video and draw on it and make different diagrams that combined with the video that you were shooting. Question out on Twitter to see what our Twitter followers and other people at the conference, I used the conference hashtag to see what some other people used. And I had one person, Mrs. Jenkins, who, if you'd like to follow her on Twitter, is at Mrs. J_English. And she said that her favorite presentation tool was VoiceThread because it allows introverts non-threatening exposure to oral presentation, which I thought was great, not just for VoiceThread, but for all digital presentation tools. It is a great way to get people who maybe would be uncomfortable speaking in front of a class to speak to a device and then be able to share that with their classmates.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. And I'd never heard of TouchCast. How about the rest of you girls?
I have.
No, I have not.
See, our children can
Yeah, I'm
teach
looking
us
forward to
too.
exploring it.
I love it. Okay, let's toss it over to Andrea. What are some of your presentation tools of choice?
You know, when I present at conferences, I love using live binders because then I can just have a whole presentation with me and not really a presentation, because most of the time I want to share tools or how I've used it in the classroom. That way they can get the real live experience. So, and also it's much easier for participants to go back to the live binder and find it all sectioned out because it's like a 3-ring notebook online. It's one of my favorite things to use. But I also am excited to try out Apollo, which is by Atlas Learning. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. iPad Sammy hangs out with these guys, actually works for these guys now. But it says on their website, Apollo creates a classroom experience so immersive that is more interesting to pay attention than to daydream. It transforms old lessons seamlessly into the digital world and lets you capture student feedback in a way never before possible. So what it does is it's like a presentation tool, but students are actually able to log into the classroom and comment on the slide itself, answer questions real time, and it also records the information. It's a really cool product.
Is it free? I wonder.
I think that there might be some trial versions available, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But definitely find iPad Sammy on the Twitters, and he will definitely let you do a demo or whatever. And I believe they're also creating like a learning management system too. So
very cool.
Really cool stuff.
Cool. Okay, Karen, your turn.
All right, I'm going to share 3 real quick. This is just something I was putting together in Haiku Deck. Sorry, I was covering my mouth there. Basically, what I like about this, I was just putting a camouflage. Hopefully my spelling is right here. But basically, took my own pictures, and in Haiku Deck, it can bring a really nice big picture and some really big text, which I think is nice because sometimes in presentations people can get really wordy. And I usually use my slides as just talking points, and Haiku Deck is a really easy tool to use, and you can share it via a link. You can download it as a PowerPoint. I think it's a really easy tool to use on your iPad. Another one I wanted to share was Visual Poet. Maybe not a traditional presentation tool, but it's another free app. I hope it's free still. There we go. Basically, kind of like 3 pictures you can put together, and you can create poetry with it, but it might also be a nice way to share some pictures that you're collecting, so my 3D shapes here. And the last one, I just learned about it, and I haven't really been using it, is called Teachnomia. And I think it's similar to Explain Everything. And so you create an account, and the students can create nice little presentations, bring in pictures, videos, explain things. So that's the one I'm kind of learning about right now.
Awesome. And what's really great about Haiku Deck is it's so simple. It just works. There's something about simple, especially if you're doing something with younger students doing a presentation. They need something that's not complicated.
And time restraints. I mean, sometimes we don't have a lot of time, but we want to share what we've done in the classroom and what we've learned. And so it's a nice tool that's simple and doesn't take a lot of time.
Excellent, excellent. Well, for myself, one of them I'm going to share for you today is called PictoChart.
Ooh.
This one actually creates infographics. And it's available in the Chrome Play Store, so if you have a Chromebook rollout in your schools like we do, it works really well with that. And I will tell you that it comes with its own set of templates and color schemes and so forth. But an app like this, there's so many choices, you're going to have students who get sucked in for a really long time. So if you have students who are, it just has to be perfect, 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 you want to give them plenty of time to play around with the tool. Dynamic piece, images can be exported as full posters. You can export them as JPEGs, PDFs, whatever that may be. So the students, even if they make a handout, like if they go to a conference at a poster session like Mike saw today, they can create their infographics and make those as handouts if needed. I also use quite a bit LucidChart. It's another one that's in the Chrome Play Store, and it actually creates flowcharts. So any workflow kinds of ideas or mind mapping kind of a tool, LucidChart works really well if the students are presenting a process of any sort. And so definitely check that one out. We'll put it in our notes today. But the 2 that are the most popular, the 3 most popular that we haven't touched on real heavily here, because we wanted to give you some other options first, are the big 3 of Google Presentations, PowerPoint, and Prezi.
Yeah.
And we're fans of all 3. Would you agree, friends?
Yes.
Yep.
Can I throw in Keynote?
A Keynote,
Yes.
there's 4. Yes, there's 4. But, what's really great about any one of these tools is the idea of a mashup between them. So, Karen, why don't you explain how you do app mashups?
Okay, so basically when I create a presentation, just like the kids thinking about who my audience is, I like to use my iPad to create my keynotes because there's so many apps on my on my iPad that I can use to create things. So if I'm going to begin with a kindergarten class or some kinder teachers, I might make a little puppet pal and make them laugh, but it might be a really short 10-second clip that I make. You can bring in a drawing app, and you can illustrate or have a child illustrate something and very easily bring in a picture that you can use. I mean, pretty much I feel like anything I can create on my iPad, there's a nice little place that I can put this on a Keynote slide for myself. It's just bringing in the tools that will capture the audience. So I don't feel limited, I guess, when I use Keynote.
Anything else the rest of you guys would mention about mashups? Andrea?
Well, I love using app smashing because, well, for one thing, we want to create in a lot of different ways, and so you might create something, and I use a lot of pictures for a lot of different things. So using those app products where I can combine a lot of pictures, and then smashing that into another app like Keynote. You can also smash it into Apollo. You can pull in the Haiku deck into Apollo. I love that capability where I'm not just stuck on one product, because just like our kids, we don't want the kids just be using one product. We want them to try out different things. I love app smashing.
And oh, sorry, go ahead, Karen.
I went out of turn. I'm sorry. I'm going to say I didn't share one of my favorite apps that I like to use for presentation, but I have to tell you, it's not a presentation tool. It's a smash, and there's this app called Background Eraser. And a lot of times, you know, you have your kids illustrating things, or you take a picture of something, but you only want that one item, like that one little frog that they drew, but not the whole white background. This little tool for 99 cents will delete the whole white background, and they can drop in just their one little creature or image onto a black background, and it looks like so pretty. But it allows for, in some apps, where you can animate that one little item and create it kind of like a puppet. So, Background Eraser. I just had to share that.
Mike, you were going to mention something about PowerPoint. What was that? Oh, he must be a little bit frozen where he is. But I'll tell you, one of the tools that I use quite a bit with PowerPoint if I'm on a PC is the idea to insert a photo album. It is one of the best little awesome tools there is. As long as you have all of the photos that you need to put one per slide in the same folder, if you're on a PC, you can go to Insert, Picture, New Photo Album. Gather all those pictures, and it'll zing, 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 put one on every slide instantly for you. So if you're going to make a photo slideshow where you need to go add text over the images, that's the easy way. Save those as images and move them over into your photo editing tool, or into your video editing tool. So yes, App Smash Up is the only way to go.
Well, and sorry, I missed part of that because I had a quick phone call. Did you say how you could save a PowerPoint as JPEG? So then you could, if you're not a Mac user, your PC, you could save those PowerPoints as JPEG and then put them into like Movie Maker or Photo Story.
Exactly, and it's the easy button all the way around.
Yep.
And one last thing with Prezi, you know, it is collaborative like Google presentations are. You can have more than one student in there editing. It's not as fluid as it is in Google presentations, but another feature that you may not know about inside of the Google presentation, inside of Prezi, is that there actually happens to be pieces of it for infographics. So if you insert icon is where that is, there's a whole set of clip art pieces that can help you make workflows and build like an infographic layout. So it's really, really cool stuff that's in there that most folks don't recognize.
Okay, in the show notes, I totally have to link to one of my favorite Prezis I saw one of our guys create on gamifying education, basically. But he basically took a whole line of the Super Mario Brothers, and as he's teaching, it's got the music and it hops through the different levels in Mario Brothers. It was kind of a cool way to use Prezi, I thought. It didn't make you dizzy anyway.
Oh, you know, there's so much that can be done that it's just amazing all the way around. It's just a matter of what students can imagine, and then let's find the tools that will make that work. And presentations can be going from mediocre to wow in just a few seconds. Would you agree, girls?
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so we got a roll here, and Mike has had a little trouble there at the conference with his video feed. So let's just run through real quickly, update from the Valentine Project. What are you girls seeing?
I think it's fabulous. I love that I still had, well, it made my heart so happy that it's on our website. I thought that was crazy. I even had teachers still contact me saying, hey, I would love to do this. So thanks, Diane, for having a teacher ready for us. So.
Oh, and I went to help put that video together this morning. Just the most precious thing ever. They're just sweet, They're absolutely sweet. Karen, what would you say?
Well, I have to say that here in our district, a couple of the teachers that are doing the virtual Valentine's, they're using tools that weren't on our list. So I'm really impressed by that and excited to see how they come out. And, of course, we've been working through, trying to get Google Hangouts to work on our iPads. Some little glitchies, but all worth it. We're so excited about making the connections, and the classes are just thrilled. They can't wait for Friday to come.
It's exciting, and we don't have school on Friday. We have a professional development day, so we're shooting out the final products as quick as we can. But there's just so many wonderful things to see the creativity of children from all over the world. It's just happiness. I'm just saying. Okay, so Mike says for me to share this. He just texted me. He says there is another feature in PowerPoint that we need to highlight called the duplicate feature. With photos, you can move the picture a little on each slide to actually create a flip book.
Oh.
So, those, you take paper and you put a little dot on every page and eventually it animates. He has the students do that in PowerPoint as well. And so you can build in animation, take an old tool and reinvent it for a new purpose.
I love that.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay, friends, so we've got a roll. So what was for lunch today, Andrea?
It was Sonic.
Solid choice. Solid choice. And Karen.
I scarfed down some chicken and kind of Asian spinach. That's good. I say Asian spinach. I mean, I seasoned it with some nice little Asian seasoning. So
sounds tasty, tasty. And for myself, I had toast with almond butter and cherry jelly. So pretty simple, kind of a deal. All right, friends, till next time. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for EdTech Chat and Chew this week. We love getting together to learn from each other, and we're happy that you were able to spend a little bit of your time with us today. You can make sure that you don't miss an episode by subscribing to the podcast on iTunes or to our YouTube channel. If you enjoy the podcast and you got a few good ideas today, please take a second to leave us a review on iTunes. Leaving a review is a great way to let others know about the show. Show notes and more information about topics from today's episode can be found on our website, edtechchatandchew.weebly.com. If you have questions for us or would like to give us some feedback, drop us an email at edtechchatandchew@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll try and get your questions answered on future shows. On behalf of the podcast team, I'd like to wish you a week filled with all of the amazing things that make teaching the greatest job in the world. Make sure to join us next week when we look back at the Virtual Valentine Project and discuss some of the amazing tools and ideas that our participants used to share their students' learning. See you next time. Until then, keep on learning.